biggest influences as a kid in the beginning were Elton John and Carly Simon, and the Beatles. And, when you're a kid, you listen to what your parents listened to, and they had very eclectic tastes. So I think that what drives me is I really love a clever harmonic structure. And what that means is my job is to write an earworm that's going to stick with you, but to layer that melody over something that takes you someplace you didn't expect it to go. So I'm very, very structured in regards to song format. I always say I'm a pop bitch. Like, I come from the great pop songwriters, like that type of verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, like that. That's how my brain functions. So there's always structure, and I hope that there's always a very discernible distinction between this is the verse, this is the hook, or / chorus. But I always want to do it in a way that challenges me as a musician, but I also have this thing, I want it to be so smooth that a person who's not a musician will not notice the little twist. They'll just go on the ride with me, but my fellow musicians will go, oh man, I know what you did there. And that was really cool. So yeah, I guess I serve my ego a little bit, but my ego likes that kind of music myself. Like, I like a song that, oh God, it's going to go to the 4 chord. No, it didn't. It went to the flat 7. It's like, I want it to go someplace unexpected. Well, there is no flat 7, but you know what I mean. It went that you didn't expect it to go. So I write in that way harmonically, but melodically I always want it something that I play it for you once, and by the 3rd time I sing the chorus, you're singing it with me. So that's my style.
How has your songwriting changed as you've gotten older?
I would say that the biggest distinction between songs of yore and my songs of now, I think that I have learned how to express joy and happiness without it sounding cheesy to me. I think I think my natural inclination is to write a sad song. I love a good sad song. I love a song that brings tears to my eyes, and I want some of my songs to evoke that for other people. I want, sad stuff is what we all want to feel less alone in usually, but it took me a very long time to express joy, and I think I've gotten better at that. As far as my writing process, I don't know that it's really changed that much over the years, other than I think I'm a little bit more disciplined than I used to be. It used to be well, I wrote the song and this is it, and now I'll actually be a little bit more disciplined about did you fulfill the message of the song? And one of my mantras is serve the song, not my ego. There's a lot of times where I'm like, oh, but I really love this line. But if it's not expressing what I want the song to express to the listener, I'm not serving the song, I'm serving my ego, and I don't want to do that. So that's another thing I would say has changed. As a grown-up, I've gotten a little bit more responsible to serving the song.
I guess there were times you did feel like giving up, and you pushed forward. How?
I think that, my dad will tell you, he always used to say, you know what, you're a weeble. You wobble, but you don't fall down. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think I've fallen down many times in my life, but I'm just very private about it. I always say to people, when I disappear for a while, whether it's friends and I'm not calling, whether it's social media and I'm not posting, it usually means I'm working through something.
Right.
I go very, very inward when I'm struggling. So I do fall down, but I think that I inherited this core center of optimism from my dad. It is the one thing that in my darkest hours, there's always this, even sometimes when it gets so dim, there's always this teeny tiny pinpoint of light that says, you can do this. It's going to be okay. I don't know what I would do if the light went out. I think I've gotten close a number of times in my life. I've contemplated suicide. I'm not proud of it. And it's a terrifying thing to say, but it's the truth. But I also feel like, and I'm saying this because I know how very lucky I am in that I have a partner in life. My husband is my best friend, and he's one of the greatest gifts of my life because I know I do not take for granted that when I reach that really, really dark place, that there's somebody else in the house that notices it. And I know that there are many people out there that don't have that luxury. It's a luxury to have somebody that checks in with you. So if I was going to say, what if we weren't together? Like, what would be the thing that gets me through it?
Would it be your songwriting or something else? Well,
sure. The songwriting, definitely. But for me, it's a discipline. I'm a very disciplined person, and I know that the antithesis of depression is discipline. Depression does everything possible to get you off kilter so that you're not disciplined. And I am thankful that my spectrum of depression has, like I've said, a component of OCD. So keeping my disciplines is part of my OCD spectrum, whereby I start my morning with pretty much the same thing. Every single morning it's journal, it's meditation, go for a run. On the worst day, I journal, meditate, go for a run. Even if I skip one of those steps, there's always some consistency to what I do that keeps me, moving forward and hopefully eventually getting out of it. It's not easy. The discipline thing is, and I'm gonna fault and credit my father with it. When I was really, really young, he made this comment to me. You're really, really enthusiastic when you start a project. You come out of the gate all explosive and excited, and then you just don't finish things. So now, as a grown up, I finish everything, even if it doesn't serve me anymore. It's like a horrible thing, but that's part of what keeps me on the discipline thing, is that I have that little haunting voice inside of me. You don't finish things. Yes, I do. I finish things. So the discipline really, really helps keep me in line and keeps me accountable to my depression and helps me emerge from it. Depression sucks. It's not logical. I think that there's this perception that you're lazy or you don't want to work that hard. I'm one of the hardest working people I know. My husband will attest to that. I'm always working. And depression is a chemical imbalance in your brain. Sometimes it is genetic. Sometimes it is brought on by circumstances, and your brain loops into this chemical pattern. But it's not laziness. It's an affliction. It's a mental disorder. And I really understand it, and I combat it, and I challenge it every day of my life. And most of the time, because I think at my core is an optimist, I think that she is stronger than the depression, at least thus far, because I'm still here. Yeah.
Well, that segues into the next question. What advice would you give for future singers, songwriters, musicians? Obviously, what you just offered was really good advice, but specifically for the singer-songwriter musician.
Okay, so I would say a few things. First of all, if you have people in your life telling you you have to have a fallback and you need to do this, that, and the other thing, trust your gut over anything anybody tells you. Even when it sounds illogical, always trust your gut. However, what goes hand in hand with trust your gut is you have to be willing to do the work. You will not get discovered making music in your basement or your bedroom. Just because there's an internet and there's billions of people on the internet does not mean they're going to find you. You need to figure out if this is truly what you want to do for your livelihood or if it's what you want to do with your life. And they can be the same thing or they can be separate. If you want to do it for your livelihood, that means you have to figure out a way to earn money doing it, or earn money so that you can do it. And these are the things that you have to be very diligent and responsible to figure out. It's not magic. Just because you have talent does not mean you're going to be successful. You have to create success. You have to create space to create. I think you have to be disciplined about creating your art, whatever it is, whether it's music or visual art or theater or book writing, whatever it is, you have to be as disciplined as if you were running a company. And I know that that's so antithetical to the artistic mindset. I am telling you that the reason I've been successful in many areas of my life is because I treat myself as a business. I am an artist who I manage and promote and market, and I am an artist who I nurture to create music. And I am responsible for all of those things that make the whole thing work. And you need to be prepared for that, or do it because it makes you happy and earn your living a different way. There's nothing wrong with that. That's an awesome way to live. If you have found something that you can do to earn money that makes you happy and gives you a good base that you can live off of, and you can make music freely because you don't have to worry about money, good for you. So that's the advice I would give.
Do you think we all have an artist inside of us?
I think we all have a creative side to us. I don't know that we all have artists inside. I think that artist is a very specific state of soul. I just do. I'm not saying that to be arrogant about it, like, oh, I'm an artist and you're not. It's not that. I think it's a designation. Like when I don't know what's before this planetary experience. Whether there's like this cluster of souls and like we're waiting to be chosen for a chute that like flies us into somebody's womb. I don't know how it all functions, but I think that being an artist is a very specific designation. I think that every person on this planet has a creative part of their psyche and their soul. And I think that so many people deny it because they're not an artist, and there's that need to compare. Well, I'm not an artist because that's not my livelihood. I'm not an artist because I don't make as much art as so and so. I'm not an artist. Well, no, but maybe your creativity is what makes you like the most awesome parent on the planet, or the best, school teacher, or the best attorney because you can think outside the box, or the best friend that anybody has ever had, because when it's your friend's birthday, you don't just like buy them a cake, you plan an outing that includes like going to Storm King and seeing visual arts, and then going to CIA for lunch and having an incredible 4-course tasting menu. Thank you, Dana, my friend since second grade. You are creative. We are all creative. And it's whether you choose to nurture it or not. I think that there's a tremendous amount of suppression because fear. I think that people are afraid of their creative side because they're afraid it's going to take them off track. And there's fear because I think they think they're not going to be good enough at it. And I say, be creative and stop rating your creativity. Do it because it makes you feel good. So that's how I feel about that question.
It's a good one. Where can people connect with you?
Go to my website. That's my cyber home. It's marcigeller.com. I'm guessing you'll put it in show notes. But if you need the spelling, if you're listening in a car, it's Marci with an I, Marci. And Geller is spelled like the shoe guy, not the vampire slayer. It's GELLER.com.
And like Ross from